I was having a little discussion with my boy Small 1000 about which game was better between The Last of Us and God of War. You already know what's the right answer to that question. But like, if you want to have the wrong opinion, that's cool too. But my boy said one thing that I just could not accept. He said that the old God of War plot is only revenge, and the new one is just escaping the past. In 2025. Bro, if you still thinking like this, bro, you need to hop on Shadow of the Erdtree, fight that boy Midra, so he can explain to you the depths of your foolishness. Because ain't no way you just disrespecting my boy once again. What if I were to tell you that there's only one God of War game about revenge? Out of 8 games, the 2 different versions of Kratos' perspective is so outdated. There's actually 7. So for the sake of stealing people's ideas, let's explore the 7 different levels of Kratos. 1 being the most evilest, 7 being the most goodest. From the root chakra all the way up to the crown.
Zeus! Your son has returned! I bring the destruction of Olympus! I will defeat Zeus and I will have my revenge! I see only what I have come to destroy.
Starting off in the lowest vibration possible, this is arguably one of the most popular depictions of the God of War. God of War 3 is obviously a plot about revenge. They literally tell you it before the game even starts.
Kratos will have his revenge.
See? In a world full of video game narratives where they try to tell you that revenge is bad, God of War 3 says fucking and shows you. I bet you countless people played only this game, including myself, and thought that Kratos was wilding. There was no need for no voice of reasons or philosophical messages or mentor characters. All you have to do is press L3 and R3 for the first time to forever be traumatized. This is the Oppenheimer of video game narratives. Literally everybody, side characters, antagonists, main characters, people that didn't even do shit, gets killed off in brutal fashion before the credits roll. So yes, this is the most detestable version of Kratos. But it's not the only version of Kratos. I thought Valhalla explained this already. I believe the reason why people may still believe this is because this is definitely one of the most impactful things he's done in the series. And you know how the Homo sapien brain works. We tend to focus more on the negative things like a sore thumb. The lower vibrational things are the easiest to comprehend and enjoy. But this is dead ass the only game in the series about revenge. Now, do most of the other games have revenge themes intertwined? Of course they do. Because if we look at the Avatar: The Last Airbender philosophy, the chakra pools are supposed to flow with each other, not separated. But revenge is not the main theme or the main focus of these games. Examples of these games will be Ragnarok, God of War 2, Ghost of Sparta, arguably 2018, and God of War 1. And speaking of God of War 1, guess what level 2 is?
The gods of Olympus have abandoned me.
Stay, Kratos.
Get your things and get out. Ares, I will put these demons down. I hope for nothing. I fear nothing. I am free.
Sometimes it's always good to go back where it all began. God of War 1 is one of the greatest early depictions of mental health in a video game because the story boils down to Kratos trying to get rid of his depression. After going through a classic Greek tragedy by accidentally killing his own family, he went on a 10-year journey serving the gods, atoning for his sins, with the hopes that they would at the very least, get rid of his nightmares, so that he can get some sleep at night. When he's not given a mission by the gods, he tries to ease his pain by indulging in fleshly desires. He's self-hating, self-loathing, and self-destructive, which makes this a very low vibrational version of Kratos. And if you consider his backstory in the game, who he actually is within the game itself, then he's arguably just as evil, or if not more, than God of War 3. And when he's finally denied to forget about his past, his reaction is the most defeated you'll ever see him. It's almost like he knew it was too good to be true, which is a common way of thinking of depressed people. Now, it's very easy to mistake this as a revenge story, because Ares was the mastermind of his tragedy, and of course he naturally wants to get his get back. But the gods told him to do that. They put him on this mission. It's not like this dude went like, Athena! Oh wait, that's the wrong voice actor. Athena! You will give me Ares! Like, no, he specifically asked her, When will you relieve me of these nightmares? Getting revenge on Ares definitely motivated him, but at the end of the day, he knew that nothing was going to bring back the family that he killed. The only thing he fought for was a peace of mind and an opportunity to move on with his life. The games that also carry this tired and depressed theme would be Ragnarok, God of War 2, God of War 3, and Ghost of Sparta. Also, he killed the boat captain for no reason, got a dock points off of that.
Why? Why would you do this? You lied to me. The gods lied to me. But this vision, I can change. Brother, you are safe now. I will not lose you again, Deimos. By the gods, what have I become?
God of War, Ghost of Sparta. Forever underrated. This version of Kratos is him at his most tragic. You could say that God of War 1 is the most tragic, but the real tragedy of that game happens in the past, the backstory. In Ghost of Sparta, he is literally living through his doom. In God of War 1, he hopes for the bare minimum. In Ghost of Sparta, he hopes to completely change his destiny, having his brother taken away from him at a young age. He grew up believing that his brother was dead until he learned the truth and decided to go save his brother from the literal grips of death. And on his whole journey to do so, he was successful, bringing his hopes up even higher, until he wasn't. Ghost of Sparta is a classic tale about destiny and fate. No matter how hard you may try to change who you are and what you're supposed to be, the end will be the same. This version of Kratos has yet to become spiritually awakened because of his pessimistic views on life due to the outcome. But he is making the first steps towards greatness. He tried to genuinely do a good thing here. There's also remnants of the last two versions of Kratos in this game, specifically towards the end where he contemplates jumping, then expresses his hatred for the gods even further, alluding to what has yet to come. My boy simply came up short this game. Very unfortunate, very tragic. Deadass almost every God of War game includes a theme of tragedy, except for like God of War 2.
So I'm a man now. Like you?
No. We are not men. We are more than that. We will be the gods we choose to be, not those who have been. The road ahead is long and unforgiving. No place for a boy. You must be a warrior, and you must be better than me. Understand?
I will be better.
We have approached the heart chakra, which is very ideal because this is one of the most heart-filled games in the series. God of War 4. You already know what's the deal with this game. Once God Killer, Destroyer, becomes a daddy. He goes through the game trying to be better for his son, setting a good example for him to follow, doesn't go out of his way to hurt people. He's not trying to destroy the world for revenge, not trying to sing for the moment. Kratos in this game is really just a chill guy who just wants to spread his wife's ashes. He's a neutral character in this game and the perfect example of the average human being, capable of doing both good and bad. His good traits are obviously teaching his son what type of man he needs to be, setting a good example for him in life. And his not so likable traits is that Kratos is still very selfish in 2018, only necessarily helping when he's getting something out of it or it has something to do with him, or when his son begs him, turning him into Gru from Despicable Me, which is not a terrible thing at all, but it fails to represent enlightenment. He denied Freya her wish to be killed by her son, got a dock points off of that. I feel like he only did that to shield his son's eyes from the brutality. His heart was definitely closed for the suffering of others. If you didn't spawn in as Atreus in this game, you gotta watch your back, cause you're not about to have no protection. But once again, pretty much every game in the series has that theme of humanity. And I guess it makes sense for this central point, this halfway point, to share with them all, because it is the equilibrium, the balance to the force.
I grow tired of the lies of the gods! Zeus!
To change the fate of our beloved Sparta.
You must grab hold of your destiny and command it.
You must vow to forever serve me.
I serve no one. You no longer control my destiny. I am what the gods have made me. Do you see, gods of Olympus? Do you need more proof than this?
Kratos did nothing wrong in God of War 2. Every single action he took was justified, and every sacrifice was necessary. But what every sacrifice was necessary. First of all, they employed this man as the God of War, but then gets mad when he starts causing wars. Then they kill both him and his people so that he can get tortured in the underworld for eternity. And then you want to act crazy when he retaliates? Bro, y'all just tried to set him up for failure. You explain this story to literally any random person and they gonna respond like, not gonna lie, I would've did the same thing. This isn't even a morally gray story like the other ones. This is why God of War 2 is the best power fantasy in the series. How many people out there got unfortunate shit that happens to them and the world just tells them to accept? Well, in this game, Kratos is like, fuck that, bro. You're not gonna tell me how my life is gonna be. It mirrors Ghost of Sparta in the way that both versions of Kratos try to change their destiny. But in God of War 2, you're victorious. This made it very empowering when you were playing through the game, getting stronger. And you weren't even just doing it for you. You was putting on for your city. Cause this dude wanted to pull up and destroy Sparta as a whole. Do not be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. You do not play as the villain. You play as the rebel leader, taking down this evil ass tyrant. You really don't become the villain until you kill Athena. And by then, the game is already over. He didn't even want to destroy Olympus.
I do not seek to destroy Olympus.
See? When he kills someone undeserving, he shows remorse. His only real sin here is allowing his anger and hatred for Olympus to turn him into God of War 3. This isn't no revenge story. This is simple justice if you ask me.
What evil have you wrought on this city, Persian?
Olympus needs your unquestioning obedience.
Save my brother, Kratos.
All who succumb to the black grip of Morpheus.
Who would release such evil? I care little for the world and its suffering. I will not leave you again. What good is the promise of an Olympian? It is all I have, Atlas!
Chains of Olympus. This is where the prefrontal cortex becomes awakened. This game is arguably Kratos at his most heroic. The amount of sacrifices he made in this story is the equivalent to 2018 Spider-Man. This is an early story where he's still a servant of the gods, hoping they release his nightmares, where they task him to constantly save the Greek world, starting off by stopping the Persian invasion. Then he has to rescue Helios from Atlas and save all the gods from sleepy time with Morpheus. While doing all of that, he has to battle his own faith in the gods. He doesn't know if they're actually going to keep their promise. He doesn't know that he'll actually be rewarded for all of the work that he has to put in, which leads him to go against the fate of the world just to see his daughter, but then quickly realizes the sacrifice that he has to make. Sacrificing being with his daughter to go save the world is one of the most selfless acts he's ever done in his life. When you do a good act and make a sacrifice not knowing that you'll get anything in return, you have reached the pinnacle of spiritual enlightenment. It's like putting your faith in God despite not knowing what he has planned for you. It's only unfortunate that his faith in hindsight was deeply misplaced.
Open your heart. Open your heart to their suffering. We will bear the weight of our mistakes, not with guilt, but with footsteps heavy with purpose. Today, son. Today, we will be better. Hope, when all else is lost.
Yup, you already knew before you clicked. Obviously, Ragnarok is Kratos' goody two-shoes arc. Literally does nothing questionable, nothing irredeemable. Not only is he a W father, but he's also a good man. Shake your hand. Probably the only game where he actually cared for people that were outside of his circle and had nothing to do with him. And every good action he chooses to do with his own free will, not because some god told him. He embodies all of the characteristics of each version of Kratos in one. He's a destroyer, he's tired, he's tragic, he's human, he's empowering, he's a hero, and now he's redeemed. Anyways, that's enough glazing for today. Don't worry, I'm grabbing a mop, I'm mopping the floor. And I know what you're thinking. There's a game that I missed out on talking about in this video. God of War Betrayal. I would like to take a short moment to say, rewriting part 11 is almost done. I know, it took forever. You want to know the reason why? I was lazy. I'll tell you, I was lazy. But I give you my word, we will return to that series in the very next video. Stay tuned.